World War II touched everything, even baseball. When shiploads of Major League players went off to war, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt thought about stopping professional baseball until the war ended. But then he decided it meant too much, too many people to take it away from them. The games went on, and Major League Baseball scouts looked into unusual places for players, including, in this case, junior high school. During this time, two 15-year-old kids made their debuts as professional baseball players. My name's Jake Storielli. It's a full count, and this is Laughs from the Past.
Okay, what an intro by Jake. That was fantastic. This is Laughs from the Past. Welcome. Season 4, Episode 3, Children, Kids, Making History. A topic that is, I don't know, I'm having fun. We did Newsboys. We did, what was his name? James Fortin on the ship. That was a crazy story last week. But we are now doing baseball, Jake. Our favorite subject.
World War II and baseball.
Yeah. So, I was a history major in college. That doesn't really mean much. It just means I like history. Jake likes stories. This is a good story. You do like baseball, though. I'd say that your like history knowledge of baseball is pretty good.
It's decent. I like knowing the names. I like a good name drop here and appreciating where the sports come from. And yeah, I mean it's I don't know. I spoiled generation. I normally talk about us being spoiled Yankee fans, but I don't know. Imagine, I mean, you and I have kind of now dedicated our lives to the New York Yankees. What if they went to war tomorrow and they were like, well, we need to use them because they're peak male athletes and we need them to win a war?
Yeah, I know. It's a little more important.
So, yeah, a little bit different times. And I mean, I don't know, like the things I know, like we briefly mentioned this beforehand, but like people say the only thing Ted Williams was better at than hitting a baseball was being a fighter pilot. And like clearly that dude had some special eye-hand vision, like brain processing skills that made him a really good fighter pilot. And it's just, I don't know. I mean, Yogi did some stuff in the war, right? Was he a Navy guy or something?
Yogi stormed D-Day. He was on a boat.
Right.
It's crazy.
So it's like nuts.
It's really nuts. And it's crazy. I watched a Ted Williams documentary. I watched the first half of it. It was on Netflix recently. And like when he came back from the war, he didn't plan on playing baseball. He was just like moving on with his life. And then he just stepped in for a round of batting practice at Fenway and just went like nuts. Hadn't swung a bat in years and just went nuts and like was in his element, like his zone. And the whole stadium was just kind of like, oh, like watching. And they came back. It was pretty cool storytelling the way they did it.
Riding a bike, man.
So anyway, World War II touched everything. We were talking about a couple kids getting the call up here, Jake. There's two stories because they did start, if you know, A League of Their Own, the movie with Tom Hanks. They did start a women's league. So we have a 15-year-old girl who played in the professional women's league and a 15-year-old boy who played in the MLB during World War II. Let's start with the boy because that is the book we're reading, the order they give it to me in.
Okay. Yeah. I think, I don't know, something I've been doing a lot of lately is I think like 3-year check-ins. Like looking back at yourself every 3 years and be like, okay, what were you doing? What were you thinking? What did you think was right? What turned out was right? What wasn't right? I mean, I'm talking about 5 of those now. I mean, 15, when I was 15 years old, what did I know? And it was nothing.
Yeah. So Joe Nuxhall. Joe Nuxhall. Dude, I love baseball
How are you
reference.
spelling that?
Nuxhall. Nuxhall.
Joe Nuxhall. All right.
Okay.
Handsome.
Here we go. Don't read too far ahead on his baseball reference.
Okay.
I want it to come to you.
Just want to see a picture of him.
There he is.
It's hot. Hot boy.
It was the summer between 8th and 9th grade when they found me. This is his telling of the story. My dad and I were playing in the same Sunday league in Hamilton, Ohio, but we were on different teams. One Sunday, some scouts came up from Cincinnati to watch my dad play, but our game got started before his, so they watched me pitch. I was only 14, but I was already 6'3", 190 pounds.
I was going to say, and I mean, my brain jumps here a lot because I'm a shorter guy, but I was going to say this 15-year-old had to be a string bean pitcher, and he was.
190's not string bean, is it?
No, 190's pretty filled out, but I'm skeptical of that. 6'3", 190 at 15?
14.
What was he eating?
He was 14 when they saw him.
What was he eating?
I mean, he lived in, where did I say he lived? Ohio? He was eating meal, corn, potatoes.
Corn?
Yeah.
Corn and whatever animal died that week. Okay.
It's country strong, man.
Okay.
I didn't have a curveball, but I could really throw hard. Straight ahead and let her fly was my motto. So just a 14-year-old giant that can throw hard. The scouts introduced themselves to me after the game and said they wanted to sign me right up. That's how easy it was. One game in a Sunday league. Like, who's the talent? Who's he playing against? His dad was around?
Well, didn't he say it was before his dad's game or something?
So he said, my dad and I were playing in the same Sunday league, but we were on different teams. So what's this league? It sounds like just
it was probably like a group of towns that were close enough to play baseball with, and baseball was the only hobby at the time. So if you were a male between apparently 14 and 44,
yeah,
you played baseball on Sunday after church.
but like scouting that game just seems so ridiculous to me. Well, he struck out the 40-year-old mechanic. So let's sign him to the Reds.
Yeah, I mean that's it's old school scouting, babe. No spin rate, no speed gun. You hear the ball.
They probably had no idea how old he was. The scouts in the crowd watching him pitch just sees a 6'3" guy.
Yeah. And they were probably told, like, hey, we need, like, 3 bodies soon.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, pick him up.
So the scouts introduced...
When did minor league baseball start?
There's minor league baseball in the
Right,
40s.
but there couldn't have been as many tiers, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. There always had to be minor league baseball, I would guess. Not like 5 teams each, like we have now. But I would guess that there was always like minor league baseball.
Because I feel like even like the Garrigs, DiMaggio's, Mantles, and guys like that, it's like, well, they went to the minor leagues for this many games, and then they decided they couldn't hold them down there any longer.
Minor league baseball, as we know it, was started in 1901.
Whoa.
At the winter meetings of 1932, they elected a new president. He served for 15 years, who moved the office to Durham, North Carolina, and inherited 14 leagues and 102 clubs. So I think there was a lot of like local towns clubs and leagues,
right? That they made official. Because I feel like every story from, again, like World War II or before was basically like, yeah, this guy could hit one over the moon, so the Yankees signed him. He played minor league baseball for a couple months, and then they called him up to the Bronx.
Yeah. Like Ted Williams played his minor league ball for the San Diego Padres.
How about that?
Pretty interesting. So it was an option. The scouts introduced themselves to me after the game and said they wanted to sign me right up. I wouldn't do it because I wanted to play 9th grade basketball. So I waited until right after basketball season, and in February of 1944, I signed a contract with the Cincinnati Reds. Imagine being that scout. Like that's when you know you're dealing with a kid. You're like, hey, okay, we want to sign you to be the youngest professional baseball player. Right now, we're going to pay you. Well, I really want to play basketball with my friends.
Yeah,
Kid.
me and my buddies, we've been waiting to beat the crosstown team for 3 years.
It's my freshman year of high school, and I've just really been looking forward to this. Kid, I don't think you heard me. We want to pay you the big bucks. Come down to the big club. You're talking about schoolyard basketball.
I'll do it, but after hoops.
I'm interested for sure, mister. But that's just being young and dumb, and that'll always be there. Who cares? Just come back after my basketball season. And they did. They let him go play basketball, and they came back. And in February of 1944, he signed a contract with the Cincinnati Reds. He says, I got a $500 bonus and $175 a month. I thought I was a millionaire. The deal was that whenever the Reds were in Cincinnati and I didn't have school, I'd go down to Cincinnati and put on a uniform and sit on the bench. That's how desperate they were just for bodies.
Yeah. Well, I'm also wondering, we've seen analytics come through baseball to, it used to be from the point where like, hey guys, check out on base percentage, to now we have analytics and advanced stats for everything. I'm wondering if this is like the scouts or the front office for this team were like, all right, we need to get better talent. Let's start looping guys in earlier, and we'll sign them before the other teams find them, before they're like 18 or something like that. I don't know. I'm kind of reaching.
Yeah, I think they just needed bodies.
Because we're talking about a kid getting out of high school classes to play baseball, to play professional baseball.
Yeah. It's crazy. So I don't even understand that sentence. Like, whenever they were in town and I didn't have school, so the weekends when they weren't in town? Night games?
Weekends or like night games? Yeah.
Gonna drive to Cincinnati.
Did night games exist?
I don't know.
Like, they weren't prevalent if they did exist.
Yeah, when did night games? When did night games start MLB? I'm actually kind of interested. MLB holds first night game. It wasn't at Wrigley, right? Wrigley didn't do it forever. The Cincinnati Reds beat the Philadelphia Phillies 2-1 on this night in 1935.
Okay.
The first ever night game in professional baseball took place May 2nd, 1930, between two minor league teams. Wow. So I don't know how prevalent they were. Like, this is a decade later, so maybe they were. Maybe there were a lot of night games. So anyway, all his job was to go sit on the bench. We're not even developing him yet. Just go sit on the bench. The players were really nice to me, he says. The first day I walked into the clubhouse, an outfielder named Eric Tipton looked up at me and asked how old I was. I said 15. He said, son, you're big enough to kill a bear with a switch. I don't know if
better times.
I don't know if like those one-liners, they were like just, they make the history books because they're funny one-liners. And
or if that's just how everyone had to talk back then.
Because the way that we perceive history is that everyone back then just had like one-liners nonstop. But I think that's because that's what got wrote down. It's for everyone.
Yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting question. I don't know if it's just like the cream rises to the top. Like, was there like one guy walked up and just said like, "You're huge."
Yeah, I think there was probably 10, and no one writes those quotes down. But then the one guy who's
when the newspaper got printed, they had to get the best one.
Yeah, so that's what we know.
And now we're here. Okay,
it seems like everyone back in the day just had a line. Son, you're big enough to kill a bear with a switch. When the games started, I'd sit in the dugout with them and we'd talk about what was going on, but I never dreamed of getting to play. Then this one Saturday afternoon, we were playing the St. Louis Cardinals, and they were beating us 13-0. The ninth inning came, and I was sitting there thinking, boy, these guys can hit. When all of a sudden, our manager, Mr. McKechnie, walked down to my end of the bench and told me I was going in. I was scared to death. The Cardinals were the world champions that year. They had the hardest hitting lineup in baseball. When I walked out there, I was so nervous, I don't even remember what my catcher said to me. The first batter grounded out. I walked to second, and the third popped out. I walked to the second batter, and the third popped out. Not bad, I was thinking. And then Stan Musial came up. I stood there staring at him. It really was Stan Musial. I feel like I'm slurring that. The most feared hitter in the league. There was that famous red number 6. This was not junior high. I looked at him for a while until I had to throw the ball. Then I did, as hard as I could. He cracked it even harder to right field for a single. If I had hit it higher, it would have been a homer. After that, I never got anyone else out. I walked 5 and gave up 2 hits and threw a wild pitch. They scored 5 runs. My earned run average was 60-something when they took me out.
That's a bummer, man. Got the first 2?
Yeah. And then just went to shit when he saw Stan. Why wasn't Stan in the war? Is that a rude question?
Your guess is as good as mine.
Wow, he was 20. This was 1944, so Stan was only 23 years old. It's not how I was picturing him in my head.
What was the like draft age?
I think like 18.
So why wasn't Stan in the war? I thought you were saying that like that was why he wasn't in the war.
Oh no, I was just shocked that he was young. Because in my head, I picture like a 30-year-old Stan Musial like facing the young kid. He passed. Stan Musial was 23 years old and batted .347 in 1944. He passed his naval physical examination in 1944 and reported for induction on January 3rd, 1945. So it looks like he just waited a year because his team won the World Series. Like, I'll just wait this out. We'll win one World Series versus these high schoolers while everyone else is in the war, and then I'll go help you guys in that fight.
Smart.
Yeah. Goes down in history. Check out some of these names. Musial was assigned to Bainbridge Naval Training Center in Maryland March 17th and played for the Bainbridge NTC Commodores baseball team. This is what I remember reading about Yogi when he was like playing for the military team. I was like, that's fun. It's like, get out of here, Stan. You're the best ever. This is our military fun time. Listen to some of the people.
Honestly, it's probably kind of fun, though. It's kind of like, I mean, pickup baseball doesn't really happen anywhere anymore, but pickup basketball, that can get fun if you're amongst friends. Like if you're not at 24-hour fitness. It's like, all right, we've got 2 friends that are really good at basketball, so you're going to be paired up with their 2 friends that absolutely suck, and we'll see if the kind of average guys can beat them. So I bet it was probably like Yogi and the bums versus like the solid team, and they'd see who would win.
Yeah. Listen to the names that played with Stan Musial.
Give me the names.
Lum Harris.
Yep.
Lum. Dick Wakefield.
Yep.
Thurman Tucker. Stan Spence. And Dick Sizzler.
Dick Sizzler. I bet.
Musial credits his time with these as developing him as a power hitter. So anyway, he did end up going to the war. But at 23, he was facing 15-year-old Joe Nuxel.
Joe Nuxel.
And Nuxel says, none of my friends or family were in the crowd that day because no one expected I would ever get into the game. But when I got home, everyone was excited. My mom had heard it on the radio. All the kids in the neighborhood wanted to know how it felt to pitch to Musial. They were happy for me. We didn't know for a while that I had become the youngest person ever to play in a Major League Baseball game. Imagine that. Don't even know it.
I mean, this is this definitely has loose ends to the movie Rookie of the Year. Like, I'm picturing Rookie of the Year. I haven't seen it in a while, but, like, that kid goes back and just hangs out with his buddies.
Goes on the boat and stuff.
That's exactly what Nuxel was doing.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So I went to the Wikipedia of this story just to see if there's any other info, and there wasn't that much, but I did find that there was another kid who passed him in 1952 as the youngest to ever play professional baseball. Now, it wasn't the MLB. It was minor leagues. But his name is Joe Releford. And this story is pretty fun too, Jake. So we'll do this, and then we'll move on to the female professional league. Joe Releford, okay, at 12 years old, became the youngest person to participate in professional baseball game on July 19th, 1952. He was inserted into a game for the Fitzgerald Pioneers of the Georgia State League at age 12 years and 234 days.
It's too young.
When the Pioneers...
It's Little League.
Yeah, 12 is really young.
That's Little League.
Well, you're going to like this story. When the Pioneers...
Haven't hit puberty, maybe. I mean, I'm guessing this kid did, but his buddies did not.
You listen to the story and you'll like it.
Okay.
When the Pioneers fell behind the Statesboro Pilots 13-0, heading into the 8th inning, the crowd started chanting for the club's manager, Charlie Ridgway, to put in the bat boy, put in the bat boy, put in the bat boy, put in the bat boy. So manager said, fuck it. And he sent Joe to the plate against pitcher Curtis White. And Joe grounded out to third base. He then continued to play the game as the center fielder. Releford was released shortly after the incident. Ridgway, the manager, was suspended for 5 days and fined $50, which the local fans all teamed up and paid the fine for him.
Love that.
And umpire Ed Kubrick was fired by the league. Releford not only became the youngest person to play in professional baseball, he also broke the color barrier in the Georgia State League as well.
How about that?
Pretty fun story when you put the bat boy in.
Put the bat boy in. All right. Yeah, screw it. You guys are picking up the tab, though.
That's pretty good. Later that summer, Releford went to work for the semi-pro Fitzgerald Lucky Stars and even appeared in a few games for them. So he's still 12 years old, just still playing. I don't get that part. Pretty wild.
Probably became like a story.
Yeah. This is the bat boy that played. Everywhere he went, people just chanted, put the bat boy in.
We got to get tickets to this. They got a 12-year-old on that team.
All right. Next up, we have Anna Meyer, who went by Peewee Meyer.
Anna Peewee Meyer.
So if you've seen the movie A League of Their Own, which you should, it's a good movie. There was the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League. It was started in 1943 by Philip K. Wrigley. Yes, that Wrigley, the millionaire chewing gum company owner who also owned the Chicago Cubs. Wrigley believed that with so many major league stars away, American fans would pay to see good female players. He was right. Wrigley sent scouts out around the United States and Canada, holding tryouts in small towns and cities, signing the best players. The youngest player to sign a contract was 15-year-old Anna Peewee Meyer, who played with the Kenosha Comets and the Minneapolis Millerettes.
I was going to say, I knew her from the Millerettes, not the Comets.
That's where you remember her from?
Yeah. I had no idea she played for Kenosha.
That was brand new.
Yeah.
You didn't start cheering and really honing in your fandom for the All-American League until 1945.
I just didn't pay attention. Kenosha was never a threat. So yeah. I had an eye on the Millerettes, but never the Kenosha Knights.
Yeah. Comets versus Peaches? No, I'm just a Millerettes fan.
Millerettes, please. Thank you.
This is her story. I grew up in an Indiana town with 5 baseball-playing brothers who threw grounders at me in the barn from the time I was 2. Pretty fun. After a while, they were smashing them at me. In my family, it was run, catch, or get killed. Whoa. By the time I reached my teens, I was playing with them on a church league team and doing very well.
Nice.
When I hear about, the Sunday league that Nuxel and his dad played in, and the church league that everyone plays in, I get a little like nostalgic and sad and like, man, that would be so cool. Like everyone just played baseball. You just go to the field and play baseball. And then I think, like, would I go participate in that right now, Jake?
So it's tough. There's a few different dynamics here. It's a yes and no. If it was you could just go down to a park and there was going to be 15 people there and you play baseball, yeah, you probably would. Like here and there. The problem is that doesn't happen. And I've been having some internal debates lately because I'm turning 30 in a couple months. My athleticism is going, it hasn't been on the incline for a while. It hasn't been on a steep decline for a while. It's about to be on a very steep decline. So I've been having a lot of internal conversations with myself. None of the, like, I got to run a marathon or anything like that. Like, obviously don't care about that. But I'm like, okay, I've started pursuing a career that's somewhat around baseball. Should I be using my next 5 years to try to, like, play baseball? And right now, we don't have a schedule that's anywhere close to flexible enough to even be like, hey, I can play every... Like, the closest I could be to getting flex... No, I can't even. I was going to say, like, late Sunday night because the Yankee games are over, but not even. Like, Sundays are really busy days. So, I wish I could commit to, like, a league. And if there was a pickup church option like the 1940s, like, the guys are always looking to play behind the church, I think we would.
Yeah, I think we would. But the problem is the level of competition. Like that's like, cause if I'm playing, that's what's hard. That's why they organized it. Cause like, well, I'd go out there and like, this spaz can't even like swing a bat, but he wants to play. And you're like, get out of here, dude. You're ruining it. Or this guy clearly is throwing 95 miles per hour. And it's like, well, no one can hit you. This isn't fun. And that's where the organization, like, let's break this up by level, and then you don't have enough people, and that's where it gets diluted and hard.
I think it's you play spike ball, right?
I love spike ball.
You guys don't play gentleman serves, right?
We do.
You do play gentleman serves.
You can't gain a point on the serve. Just start the rally.
Okay.
That's how we play. Do you play that? I didn't know that was a thing.
I guess in the real rules, it's like real serves. I normally play gentleman serves. But I think I would just translate that to baseball, I think. Because the pitcher is such a wild card. Like, if you can't have a pitcher out there just throwing 90, I think it's just kind of like, hey, we've got a pitcher out here, he's throwing 65, and you might get a curveball or two. But they're not trying to overwhelm you. Mm-hmm. But, like, if you strike out on the 65-mile-per-hour fastball, yeah, you're out. But that's what you're getting. That's what everybody's getting. Maybe you dial it up a little bit for the better players, but not too much.
Yeah. Gentleman serves. You need to find someone who can be in the same skill set as you and make a league, and I'd enjoy that. But it's like, then what are you doing?
Right.
It's tough. Okay, so anyway, this girl was playing in a church league. Where even were we? Okay, when my dad heard that there was going to be a pro league for women, he wrote a letter to league officials recommending this anonymous girl he had seen with great talent. What dad move?
Classic.
What did you write back to that guy? Why are you watching this girl play? Where are you watching this? What are you doing, sir?
Oh no, Dad had the whole story. It's like, yeah, I go to this church and they play baseball. This girl plays. She's incredible, and she lives here.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, okay, you're her dad, but we're still interested.
They wrote a letter back to the dad saying, well, tell her to go to a tryout in Peru, Illinois, as long as she isn't working an important war-related job. So the scout right back's like, there's open tryouts. So just go there.
Right. Yeah. Not sure why you wrote this.
Everyone around town said she'll never make it, and my mom thought I was too young to leave home. On the day Dad and I went to the train station, she said, I hope you don't make it. Jesus, Mom.
Yikes.
She was crying when we left. I was so determined, though. All the way up on the train, I pounded a ball in my glove, not really listening to anyone, just thinking about what I had to do. When we arrived, there were so many women trying out that they had to use 6 diamonds. They made us all wear little dresses, which was terrible when you had to slide because your legs were unprotected. That's pretty messed up that they did that.
Yeah, that was an oversight.
It was a 2-day tryout. The first day was a disaster. I tried out at shortstop and made a bunch of errors. I had never been away from home before, and I was very nervous and just trying too hard. That night, my dad and I had a talk in the hotel. He said I had done terribly, and I surely wasn't going to make it. And he wondered what I was going to say to everyone when we got home. Oh, man. That's like
bunch of pick-me-up parents.
Yeah. That's like the story of Mickey Mantle, his dad. Did you ever heard that story when Mickey Mantle first joined the Yankees and he had a terrible debut? And I'm trying to remember the story. And his dad was driving him home and he said, just quit. You're too soft anyway. You're not my son. Just quit. Go home. Work in the fields with me. You'll never make it. And Mickey got what his dad was doing.
The old reverse psychology.
Yeah.
Classic.
I looked at my dad and said, I'm not going back home, Dad. The second day, I just burned up the diamond. I fielded everything and I threw like a rocket. By the end, photographers were taking my picture and I knew I had made it. After the workout, they offered me a contract for $40 a week plus expenses. That was $5 more than my dad made. Suck it, Dad.
Suck it, Dad. Firm suck it, Dad.
I'll give you $1 a week, Dad, just so you know I make more than you.
Yeah, here's keep the change, you filthy animal.
I wept a bit when I sent my dad off home, but not for long. I was too busy. We finished spring training.
Wiping away those tears with dollar bills,
I was
bitch.
just so sad to see you leave, Dad. $1 bill to the face wipes
you
the
need
tear.
a cab to get home, Dad? Oh, you're just going to take your
Why
regular old
don't
car?
I buy you 2 cabs, Dad, just in case the first one breaks down? I can afford it. I make more than you.
I'll have a cab follow you home to make sure you get home safe.
Yeah.
Dad. Peru, Illinois, by the way. J. Happ went to that town, Jimmy. I had no idea.
You had no idea this is where...
Would have looked this gal up.
Yeah, you were a big Peewee Meyer fan, too, but you didn't know her from a Kenesha days, so maybe that's why you didn't know her from her hometown. Yeah,
Minnesota North Stars.
Yeah. She says, we finished spring training and then went off to Kenosha, Wisconsin. 2 great players, Pepper Pear and Faye Dancer. Come on. Are we serious with these names? Pepper Pear and Faye Dancer took me under their wings. Pepper was a catcher, and she worked endlessly on throws to second base. Look, she kept saying, prepare yourself for a terrible throw, and then you'll be ready for anything. If it's a good throw, that's gravy. We studied how to position ourselves for certain batters, footwork, anticipation. I learned so much. I lived with a roommate in a family's home, and we traveled from city to city in trains filled with soldiers. The woman smoked, drank, and swore. I didn't, but I loved them anyway, and I loved being around all the soldiers. Sounds like you smoked, drank, and got busy with the soldiers. Well, she was 15.
Yikes.
She was 15, Jake. She was 15. Calm down.
Times are different, though.
Calm down over there. I didn't. I learned a lot about life. Midway through the season, I got traded to Minneapolis. This is when your fandom started kicking in.
Yes. I can tell the story from here.
Okay, here we go. What happened?
She lit it up. She had it was that confidence. She just needed a change of scenery from Kenosha. She had to get away from the drinking, smoking, and all those guys. Focus on herself.
Yep. Yeah. And she played with bigger crowds, including you. You were there in the audience. And I signed even more autographs. We made the playoffs, and I didn't get home until nearly October. My teachers let me make up lost work at night, and I got quite a reception. I was named my town's Athlete of the Year. Oh, there had to be some punk kid so pissed off about that.
Yeah.
This was my turn to be Athlete of the Year. The 1 year where it's my turn to be Athlete of the Year, they open up an all-girls league? I got jobbed. He told that story. I would have been athlete of the year if it wasn't for that all women's league.
Yeah, she got women's baseball. Oxymoron much? She gets the award.
Bullshit. There I was, a 15-year-old girl making my living as a professional athlete. What a time it was. I loved every minute of it. That's all they got. They have the follow-up. Do you want to know what happened to Joe Nuxhall and Anna Meyer?
I think so. I think I want to say first the only thing that jumped out there at the end was the just, I don't know, amateurism in sports. Like this was like money and times were so different that they were like, you can make money to play sports? Go do that now.
Yeah.
Like it was such a no-brainer. Like it was not a discussion. And nowadays it's one of the more heated arguments there is.
Yeah. Joe spent 7 more years in the minor leagues. That's crazy. So then they started his development.
They remembered he was a kid again.
And finally worked his way up to the Cincinnati Reds, where he became a fine major league pitcher. He pitched 15 years for the Reds with a 135 wins and 117 losses. And at the time of the writing of this book, he was the radio voice of the Cincinnati Reds. Whoa. That's crazy. I expected like he flamed out. Dude put together a 15-year major league career?
Well, yeah, so I think he died in 2007, so R.I.P. Joe Nuxhall. Nickname Old Left-Hander, obviously. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I think that was something that you and I ignored because we were, like, when the story originally started, I was like, yeah, had to be a tall string bean kid. If I put a good day together, the scouts would have ignored me because I was short. This kid was huge. And I think we're talking about back in the day. Again, we picture baseball now. These guys train. They play AAU ball when they're 10 and blah, blah, blah. Like, I think Joe Nuxhall was so big for the time that it was like, this kid will play pro sports.
Yeah, right? Like,
yeah.
It's just that's cool because you could be disheartened or flamed out or all that stuff. Are you at his baseball reference
nothing
at all?
was guaranteed, but...
What's his best season, Jake? Are you at his
Yogi Berra was 5'7", $185, and that's what he's listed at. So, there's a little fabrication there.
It looks like in 1962, he got traded. Well, he opened the season with Kansas City. No. He opened the season with Cincinnati, then got traded to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I'm blown away that I'm talking about him playing in 1962 when the story we just read is from 1944. Like, those are completely different areas in history in my mind.
Ooh, Jim, that's actually a really good catch because you're totally right. And that's something I love doing. It's like this guy, in this guy's 15th season, he was teammates with, 20-year-old Albert Pujols. And Albert Pujols links us to Juan Soto. And, like, you can do, like, a 60-year connect the dot on baseball with 3 players. And this guy is almost a cheat code for, like, 40... This is like a cheat code for 50 years with 2 players. Because you go... the guys that were playing baseball in 1966, I was going to say sneaking up on the Big Red Machine. Yeah. Jimmy, Pete Rose was on the 66 Reds.
So this dude played with Pete Rose and Stan Musial.
So I've got this. Let me do my game live on the air. This guy played in a game against Stan Musial, and then he played with Pete Rose, who played until 1986, which, I'm trying to find a good one. Brings us to Eric Davis, who I want to say he played up close until the 2000s. You just covered so much baseball. He played until 2001. So we just went 44 to 2001 with 4 players and two of those guys, it's nuts.
So in 1962, he was 32 years old. And he posted a 3.03 ERA for non-baseball fans. That's pretty good. Crazy, man. All right, so what happened with Peewee Meyer?
What happened with Peewee?
Anna played 5 more years and then left to go to college and soon married. To help pay expenses, she took a job in a leather factory and was invited to play on the company's softball team. She told no one about her baseball career. Early in the first game, she fielded a grounder at third and fired the ball to home plate. The catcher went down in a heap. They had to bring in the rescue squad. What? She hurt the catcher? Is that what they're trying to tell me?
I guess that's the rescue squad, yeah.
She's a member of the Hall of Fame. I'm confused. The catcher in her girls softball team got hurt because she threw the ball home too hard. I don't know if that's like funny hyperbole or a real thing they're trying to tell me.
Probably a little of both.
Yeah. Dude, I played softball when I lived in California for a couple years.
Right.
We had a softball team. And no, this was with you at Central. This was in college. We played intramural softball, and we had AJ.
Turek?
AJ, who threw about 90-mile-per-hour fastball, right? He was a pitcher in high school, and he could throw really fast.
Yeah.
He did a relay from like you in outfield to AJ at short, and he turned around and gunned it to Heather, who was playing catcher at home with like no pads on. And I mean, not to be rude, but like she wasn't like, she didn't play softball in high school. She was an athlete. Gunned it.
Yeah.
Somehow she caught it, rookie of the year style, or major little big league style. Just like put her hand up, no Sandlot style. Put her hand up and it went in the glove and got him out. Remember, we were all amazed.
It's a hell of a relay. Yeah, Heather, the softball stuff there is correct, but you're underselling her as a competitor. She was
not a baseball player. Yeah, she was a competitor, but like
she was an athlete and a competitor. Jim, blind squirrels and nuts. I checked one thing to see if it would line up for my stupid game I mentioned. Joe Nuxhall makes his debut in 1944. He last pitches in 1966. Know who made their debut in 1966?
Gabe Ruth.
Nolan Ryan.
Wow.
And Nolan Ryan pitched till 1993. 49 years of baseball.
3
connected
players.
by two players. Two players.
Yeah, that's nuts. Yeah, it's nuts. Well, this was a tale from laughs from the past. Children in history, a bunch of 15-year-olds playing professional ball.
Would have been nice. Never had that opportunity. Never came too close to it.
You actually came closer than most humans. You, at like 15,
Yeah.
went and tried out for a minor league baseball team.
14, yeah. Yeah, that was one of the cooler days of my life. Yes.
So you played on a field with like I wish you could find a list of everyone that was at that field with you that day.
Yeah.
Because there's probably someone that you played with that you're like, oh, I know him.
I don't think so, because it was like an open tryout for like undrafted free agent college players, but it said 16 and up. Or I don't even know if it was. I think it was 16 and up, because I look young now. Imagine how I looked at 14. But yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah. You didn't make the team. For anyone that wants an update.
Did not make the team.
What you do? Some people might be interested. What you do?
So they had like an open tryout at the AA team stadium. New Britain Rock Cats. These cats rock. And they were a part of the Twins organization.
For the halftime show, they'd have cats run the bases as fans threw rocks at them, right?
Yes. Yeah. And the no survivors.
If you hit a cat, you got to bring it home.
You got to keep it. It's very nice. No, it was pretty cool. They were part of the Twins organization at the time, and it was like Christian Guzman Twins for any baseball fans. And so they tested the 5 tools of baseball. It was your arm strength. So if you were an outfielder, you threw from the fence to second base. If you were an infielder, you threw from like where the third base line meets left field grass. That was the throw. They, I think they hit 3 balls at you for fielding. Blanking on that right now. They did a sprint for speed, 60-yard sprint. And then they did 5 soft toss and 5 off a tee. And it was supposed to be like contact hitting. Like the soft toss was supposed to be contact, or no, the tee was supposed to be contact, and you were supposed to prove like where you could hit. Like they put the tee on the inside corner, and they'd say like go the other way with it. I was like, I'm 14. And then soft toss was like power, hit the ball as hard as you can. So I did. I passed the fielding portion and the sprinting portion. I was fast enough at the time, which I was happy about. But yeah, I was a 14-year-old. So like there was people hitting soft toss pitches out of the stadium, and I was doing everything I could to get it out of the infield.
Do you think
like I can specifically, like we were in groups. I was with a guy who was 23 years old. He played 4 years of like D1 catcher, so he was a meaty dude. He was hitting soft toss out, and I was like, all right, batter up.
Do you think people like looked at you and whoever the other 14-year-olds like, get the fuck out of here?
So, dude, that was the thing. It was our one of our buddies, Chris Harrison. His dad like saw the thing in the paper, and like I don't think other kids like looked at it and thought that was a real thing. But the Harrisons are kind of hey, if they're going to let us do it, let's do it. So I was like, yeah, I'm in. So we were like the only kids there. Everyone was pretty real. And I think it was one of those things that like, cause everyone else there was real, they were like, well, if there's just 2 of them, like, let's not make a thing out of it. Let's see what they can do. So
let them
that was
have fun.
awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, there you go. A story from Jake's past.
Yeah.
As well.
Might have to put that clip on the Patreon or something. People like that.
Just make them come listen to this.
There you go.
There you go. Last from the Past, Season 4, Episode 3, in the books. If you got nothing else to do all day, you're looking to kill some time, we have a crazy big back catalog of shows. Cadillac.
Check out the Cadillac.
Cadillac.
What's that?
I was trying to do Black Betty. Like Wham-a-lam.
Oh, Black Betty.
Cadillac. That's what I was trying to do. I just couldn't find the rhythm.
Yeah,
all right.
There's a little Nagano in there.
Yeah. Nagano. See you guys. Have a good day. Bye.